If you ever attempted driving and you gave up at a point, or you are in the middle of learning the skill and you are struggling and you are thinking of giving up, then it means you might be suffering from one or two deficiencies, which we are going to look at. I did a series covering this and we looked at the problems and solutions. So if you didn't check them out, kindly go back and watch the videos on my channel. And I'm not making this statement to discourage anyone. Not everyone is meant to drive. Some people are just meant to be passengers. But before you get to that point where you give up, at least you should know that you should have tried your best as much as possible. Now, before we dive into the lesson, let me quickly chip this ad in. In this modern age, it is always advisable to work smarter and not harder. The age where man had to strive and stress on the sun, breaking his back to make ends meet is a thing of the past. Now there's such a thing called crypto trading. And those who are into it know the enormous benefits that come with trading in Bitcoin and doing Forex trading. There are so many platforms out there. Not all of them are legit. If you're not lucky, you could lose all your investments. So get in touch. I'll teach you. I hold sessions where I teach people how to trade, how to follow signals, and then also make profits from their investment. If you're interested, comment how in the comment section. I'll get in touch with you and sort you out. Crypto trading is the future of investment. Now let's dive right into the lesson. Number one, people who struggle with fear. For the fear, it's basically is a big deal because if you are not able to get over it, it will constantly hold you back and you never reach your full potential. There's this initial fear that comes with trying something new. Everyone experiences it at a point. So there are some they easily get over it because they don't. Let me use myself for instance. The first time I sat behind the wheel to drive, I was very cautious. I didn't want to make any mistake because yes, the least thing you can crash the car, and it becomes a huge cost. So once I got to know that this is how the car works, this is how we move, this is how you stop, this is how you're supposed to take your move around. You're supposed to be paying attention. That's all. The fear was gone. But it's very normal with a lot of people, but for some, even after learning how the car works and even practicing, they are always thinking of negative things that could happen, and they are projecting their negative thoughts onto the road. It gets at that point, I'll say your fear is chronic. It's almost in your DNA, to the point where you can't literally like allow yourself to feel free and just drive. So for some of such people, yes, you can encourage them, but sometimes their fear is basically, how do I put it? They need some for some people they need therapy. No matter how good you are as an instructor, no matter how good the conditions are, they will still find something to be afraid of, and when they are driving, they project it on the road. So if you struggle with such a problem and you can't seem to shake it off, and it keeps haunting you, it's a mental thing. I keep saying driving is a mental activity as much as it is a physical one. So if you don't, master the courage with a positive mindset to drive, there's no way you'll be able to drive. No magician in the world can help you. So people with what chronic levels of fear. There's a type of fear which is more external, where maybe PTSD, or you've witnessed an accident before, or you've seen how recklessly people drive, and because of that, you are afraid. For that one, it's more or less you just have to get over it. I don't know how else to put it. I know people who drive in the diaspora when they come to Ghana and they see the way people are driving so recklessly, they are so afraid that okay, I don't want to even be in this particular jungle. That's what they tell themselves, and they do not drive. So for that one, I understand to a certain degree, but it is something you can always overcome. Number two, people who struggle with navigation. Initially, when I started driving, I thought it came easily to everyone until I realized it's something people struggle with. Some people cannot see a straight road and just go straight. Like they can't tell when they are straight, they can't tell when they are crooked. Such people, when you're teaching them how to drive, I mean, even when they are driving and they are going into someone's lane, or they are getting close to an obstacle, or an object or someone, they can't even tell. you always have to prompt them, like, can't you see you are going to hit the person on the side of the road? Can't you see you are veering onto someone's lane? They can't tell. Meanwhile, you are all seeing the same thing on the road. So they have issues with navigation. There's a part of your brain that is responsible for navigation. So you can basically look at a spot and navigate your way through smoothly. Some people struggle with that. And that portion of your brain that regulates navigation, with certain activities and exercise, it is able to mature and you'll be able to navigate your way better. So if you are fond of playing video games that require racing and you're always like on a road and you are, controlling that direction, it helps. Driving schools that have simulators, so you sit down in the simulator and it's almost like, yeah, it's basically simulating driving, and you are able to navigate with the steering wheel. It also helps. So when you are on the road, that portion of your brain is more exercised, so you are able to navigate very well. And such people, when it comes to reverse, oh my god, they struggle the most. They are not able to pick a spot and just turn into that area effortlessly. It is always a huge struggle for them. So if you ever learned how to drive and you didn't struggle with navigation, then it means that that portion of your brain is very mature and well exercised. That's why you find it very easy. For those of you who are always, you can't even seem to stick in your lane properly, and then it means you are struggling with navigation. Then three, people who cannot keep their emotions in check. For such people, especially people who easily get into mood swings, yes, in most cases, their expressions are a reflection of what is going on inside them. And their emotions or their feelings always end up getting the best of them or the better of them. So when you are teaching such a person how to drive, it can be very difficult. When the mood is okay, they'll be flowing, they are doing things very well. But then the day that they come in and they're in a bad mood, you can tell. So if you are the type that maybe you are upset, and then because you're upset, it reflects in your driving, it tells you that yes, your emotions are very strong, and if you're not careful, it can take the better of you. For such people, I usually recommend that they mature first before you teach them how to drive. Otherwise, usually when they are young and their emotions are very fluid, they can easily like switch between moods, and the consistency that comes with driving or learning, it's usually very difficult. So if you're an instructor, and you have a student like that, today they come, they're in a good mood, everything is going well. Then tomorrow they come, they're in a bad mood. It's like, today, why are you driving like this? You can tell that they are off. Okay. So yes, it's hard for them to be consistent when they are picking up the skill. And they might end up basically prolonging the sessions that they need to master the driving. So people who struggle to keep their emotions in check, they struggle with driving. Then also, number four, people who are mentally lazy. There are some people who don't like to challenge themselves with everything. Everything they want to do, they always want like the easiest option. So when they are driving and there's a bit of a challenge, like maybe when it comes to reversing or doing anything that is slightly challenging, they're like, no, 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 no. They don't want to try it. They don't even want to do it. So some of them, they usually, even when you are training them, they stop at a point where it's getting challenging. So most of the times they start driving when they are half baked. So let's say you are teaching them how to drive, everything feels easy. Then you start with reversing or three-point turning or parallel parking before you realize, no, 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 this one is too difficult for me. Then they stop. So you see the majority of women, especially, if you leave them to reverse park, they can't do it. If you leave them to parallel park, they can't do it. I'm not saying all women, most women. So it's not that they can't do it. It's not that they can't do it all. But then they are just mentally lazy. Like if because it's challenging, they don't want to put themselves and do the work to get it right. So they only stop when things get a bit challenging. Then we have people who are, overconfident. Of course, overconfidence usually ends up breeding recklessness on the road and all that. Then again, we also have people with underdeveloped cognitive abilities. This is actually the most important thing. Your brain is basically wired in such a way that it allows you to be able to do anything that you want to do at all with your body. Certain things that you find very easy to do is because your brain is already wired to be able to do those things. So let's take for example riding a bicycle. When you sit on a bicycle, first you have to learn to balance yourself. After balancing yourself and you are moving, you as you are balancing yourself and moving at the same time, your eyes are scanning your environment and you are directing with your hands. So your hands are also, doing the steering and your feet are also doing the paddling. Now, when you start training yourself to ride a bicycle, it takes time before you realize your mind just grasps the whole thing and then you move effortlessly when you are riding a bicycle. Same applies to driving. Your hands, your eyes, and legs need to be fully what? Coordinated. You need to have good eye and hand good eye, hand, and feet coordination. So you are driving, as your eyes are scanning the environment, your hands are doing the steering. So when you are driving and you are approaching the turn, instinctively you know that you have to bend this way to go to the left or this way to go to the right. It's not that your instructor is teaching you and then you're approaching the curve and you're asking, should I turn? Of course, it should just come to you. If it is not coming to you like that, then it means that that part of your brain is still not well developed because it has to be coordinated. You've seen a curve, so obviously you should bend. Then your feet should also be well coordinated as you are driving, and then your hands are doing the navigation. Your feet also regulate the accelerator and the brake. So if you are seeing potential danger, you know quickly I need to apply the brake for the car to slow down and stop. If you need to move quickly or you need to move, you go to the accelerator. Not that in the heat of the moment you want to apply brake, then you go and apply accelerator. Or in the heat of the moment you need to apply accelerator, then you go and press brake. It just tells you that your mind is not fully coordinated with your body for that particular activity, which is the driving. This is why some people take longer than some to learn, because some people, as they were growing up, because of maybe the activities and the games they used to play and all that, mentally their minds are a little bit set up. So the little push and the little training, they just pick up and they are gone. For some people to, oh Lord have mercy, you will train them and you will train them and they are struggling. It tells you that that part, that part of their minds responsible for coordinating the driving activity is not very mature yet, and that is why some people take longer than some. So this is something that you also have to take note of. So yes, if you have any of these qualities, if you are unfortunate you have more than one, the chances that you struggle to learn how to drive or not be able to drive at all is very high. So, like I said, this is not to discourage you. And also, knowing your faith is also very important because not everyone is meant to drive or born to drive. Some people are just meant to be passengers. So, before you get there, like I said, try your best and know your faith. Sometimes, maybe at the point where you are, it's not conducive for you to learn how to drive. So maybe you might have to grow and mature a little. So don't say that, oh, this young person, 18 or 19-year-old, or young people, 18, 19-year-olds are driving. So of course you should be able to drive. It's not magic. Everyone is different. Everyone has different mental capabilities. And some people will learn it very easily. Some too would struggle. So this is what I have for you today. Bye for now. See you soon and adios.